Sathyabama Institute of Science and Technology.
I'm in Tina Victoria A, Assistant Professor, Department of Information Technology, Sathyabama Institute of Science and Technology. Today, I'm going to share the topic called Introduction to Cascading Style Sheets. So, what is meant by Cascading Style Sheet? It is fondly referred to as CSS, is a simple design language intended to simplify the process of making your web pages presentable. CSS handles the look and feel part of a web page. Using CSS, the control of the color, the text, and the style of the fonts and the spacing between the paragraphs and how columns are sized and laid out, what background images and colors are used, as well as a variety of other effects can be decided. So the CSS is easy to learn and understand, but it provides a powerful control over the presentation of an HTML document. So most commonly, CSS is combined with the HTML and your DHTML languages. So what are the advantages of the CSS? First is saves the time. So how it will save the time means you can write the CSS once and then reuse the same sheet in multiple HTML pages, and you can define a style for each HTML element and apply it to as many as web pages you want. So once it is created, you can use for as many as pages you want. So pages loads faster. Second is the page, it will load faster. Since you are using CSS, you do not need to write the HTML tag attributes every time. In just write one CSS rule of a tag and apply it to all the occurrence of the tag wherever it comes. So the less code means it will be faster download times. So next is the easy maintenance. Easy maintenance is to make a global change, simply change the style and all the elements in the web page can be updated automatically. So once you want to change the element style and it will apply to the whole web page. So next advantage is superior styles to HTML. CSS has a much wider array of attributes than HTML, so you can give a far better look to your HTML page in comparison to the HTML attributes. HTML attributes will simply display the whatever content you are giving, but it will not give your style to your web page. But while using the CSS, it will give more presentable look for your web page. You can style your web page as you like, and multiple device compatibility. So style sheets allow content to be optimized for more than one type of device. Then by using the same HTML document, different versions of website can be presented for your handheld devices such as PDAs and cell phones or for your printing. It has the advantage of global web standards. Now HTML attributes are being deprecated and it's being recommended to use CSS. So it is for your HTML document, it is highly recommended to use your CSS for your styling the web page. So it is good idea to start using CSS in all the HTML pages to make them compatible with the future process. For your future process also, to make the HTML compatible, CSS is used for a recommendation. CSS syntax. So CSS syntax, example H1 color blue, font size 12 pixels. So H1 is the selector and color is the declaration. It has a property, color is your property and the property has a value of blue. Likewise, font size is your property and it has a value of 12 pixels. So the declaration consists of selector and a property and it has a value. So the declaration, it is separated by the semicolons and each declaration includes a CSS property, name, a value separated by a colon. Multiple CSS declaration are separated using the semicolons and declaration blocks are surrounded by only curly braces. So you can use the curly braces for your declarations and multiple declarations are separated using a semicolon. So what are the style rules? So style rules has three components, that is selector, property and the value. Selector is an HTML tag at which a style will be applied. This could be any tag like etc. Property. A property is a type of attribute of HTML tag, but simply all the HTML attributes are converted to the CSS properties. This could be color, border, etc. And values are the assigned to the properties. For example, color, blue is your property value. Then selectors. So class selector selects HTML elements with the specific class attribute. So this specific class, write a period character followed by the class name. For example, center, it will have the center class which has text align equal to center and its color is red. So it will be aligned to the center with the color red. So the grouping selector, we have several, see this example, it has H1 tag, H2 tag and paragraph tag. Each has a text align property and a value called text align, center and color red. So all these have same properties. So it will be better to use this code with the grouping selectors. So all the group selectors separate each selector with a comma. H1, H2, P I has the same properties like text align, center and color red. So we can group it by using a comma. Next is the type selector. Type selector is using your type. So here H1 color blue will give the color blue to all your H1 size heading. So next is the universal selector. You don't want specific attributes for every tags you have in your HTML program. If you want to give a style with the common attributes to all your tags in your HTML program, you can use the universal selector with using a asterisk symbol. So this will select all the attributes with the same properties. You have asterisk color #000, it will select the color black for all your content in your HTML page. Then class selector, you can define style rules based on the class attribute of the elements. All the elements having the class will be formatted according to the defined rule. So dot black color 000, this will rule enters the content in black for every element with class attribute set to black in our document. For example, h1.black color #000. So this will select the black color. Next is the descendant selector. Suppose you want to apply a style rule to a particular element only when it is lies inside another element. So we want to, it is style one element inside another element, you can use the descendant selector. For example, here ULEM color equal to #000. So here UL is an unordered list tag. In the tag you have emphasize text. Only you want to emphasize the text alone in black, you can give this one. So in the only it will select in the unordered list with the EM tag, the color will be changed to black. Then ID selectors, you can define style rules based on the ID attribute also, like #black color 000 means whenever the attribute value is black, it will again change this value to this color code. Then this rule intends the content of black for every element with ID attribute to set black in our document. You can make it more particular for H1 #black with a color code. This rule renders the content black only for the ID attribute to H1 ID attribute to black. The true power of ID selector is when they are used as the foundation for the descendant selectors. It is #black H2. In this example, all level 2 headings will be displayed in black color when those headings will lie within the tags having the ID attribute to set to black. When the ID attribute is wherever the ID attribute is black, it is inside an H2 tag, it will be displayed in the color black. So next is the child selector. It is same like the descendant selector but with some different functionality. So here body, paragraph tag and here have a color code black. This rule will render all the paragraphs in black if they are direct child of the element. Only if it is a direct child of the element, it will be changed to the black. Other paragraphs will put inside other elements like or would do not have effect in this rule. Only the child element will have the color code. So next is the attribute selector. You can also apply styles to your HTML elements with particular attributes. So it is based on the attributes. So here input type text. So it is a text attribute, type attribute. Then color code will be 00 hash 0. Then this style rule will match all the input elements having a type attribute with a value of text. So the advantage to this method is that element is unaffected and the color applied only to the desired text fields. So there are some of the style rules applied to the selector submit. So when you use the submit, you can have plang. So select all paragraphs elements with the language attribute, and plang of fr is equal to fr means it will select all the paragraph elements whose language attribute has a value of exactly fr. Plang fr, this symbol is a combinator symbol, and if it is fr, it selects all the paragraph elements whose language attribute contains the word fr, and plang is equal to en, it will select all the paragraph elements whose language attribute contains values that are exactly end with en or begin with en. So multiple style rules. You may need to define multiple style rules for say a single element. You can define these rules to combine multiple properties and corresponding values to a single box. So this is mainly used for when you have one or more property or value, you can use this multiple style use. So for one tag, you can add multiple style use. This is an example. Here H1 tag have color, font weight, letter spacing, margin bottoms and text transform, all these values, all this property and the values for a single tag. So these are separated by a semicolon. So for our clarity, we can use it in the multiple lines. If it is, you can use it on the single line also. For better look, for our understanding, we are using in the multiple lines. So this grouping selectors, we have already seen in the grouping selectors. Grouping selectors is used for the one or more tags having a same property and values. We can group it using a comma. Here also the same thing. H1, H2 have the same common properties, color, font weight, letter spacing, margin bottom and text transform. So you have combined all these with the comma, separated by a comma. You can combine the various class selectors also. For example, content, footer and supplement. So these are combined here. So a CSS files consist of one or more rules. Each rule start with a selector that specifies an HTML element, then applies style properties to them, and a selector of asterisk symbol selects all the elements. So what are the types of style sheet? There are three types. One is external, internal and inline. So what is meant by external means there are if you can use it for this multiple HTML program. You can have a separate CSS file and it is stored separately with the .css extension. So a page can link to multiple style sheet files. In a case of conflict, the later sheet's properties will be used. CSS code can be embedded within the head of the HTML page, and if it is in the head of the HTML page, it will look, it is a bad style of styling. So wherever it comes, better to be avoid in this format by using your styling in your head tag. So for this, to avoid this, we are going for the external CSS, that is, it is written in any text editor and must be saved with the .css extension. For example, here in this HTML program, there is a link tag with the reference of style sheet. Here href is equal to mystyle.css. So this is a CSS file which is stored externally. This program will take the style from the mystyle.css. In the file, we can give the style. Next is the internal CSS. This internal styles are unique, may be used for only one single HTML file. So internal styles are defined within the style element inside the head section of the HTML page. For example, here head section with the style tag, you have given style for the body, background color you have given, and H1, for H1 the style has been given and the program has ended. Then is the inline CSS. To use inline CSS, add the style attribute to the relevant element. The style attribute can contain any CSS property. So inline means while using the tag itself, we can give the style attributes within your tag itself. For example, here body H1 is a tag. Here itself we can give with the style, color blue, text align center, etc. So here also for paragraph tag, style, color red, this is a paragraph. So this will have the heading in color blue, aligned in center, and paragraph will be displayed in your red color. So what is the conclusion is CSS is mainly used for your HTML programs that makes your web page more presentable and neat. So idea of using CSS is more recommended for your web page look more legible and presentable. Thank you.